And so if we can strive for learning and being good at that, we'll be a quote unquote good man.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff so far. I appreciate just all these different views and all these ideas.
I'll give you talk about Jordan Peterson, a man should be dangerous but have it under controllers. General Mattis, you know who General Mattis is? Okay, Jim Mattis.
Mad Dog Mattis.
Yep. Secretary of Offense. No, he was the Secretary of Defense, Marine General.
Yeah.
He had a saying that went something like this: be polite, be professional, be courteous, but have a plan to kill everyone.
Yeah, I think I've read that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a quote somewhere, him in Iraq talking to Iraqi elders, I think, and if I'm butcher this, I'm sorry, Marines. But it's basically, I come in peace, I just want to be friends.
Yeah.
But so help me God, if you, cross me, like I'm going to destroy you with everything that I have,
Yeah.
Or maybe better succinctly put was no better friend, no worse enemy, right? So you will have no better friend than me because I'm here to protect, serve, all those things, lead. Yeah. But if you display so much as a iota of evil, you will have no worse enemy than me, So
I like
there's
that.
all truth in there,
Yeah.
But and that stuff's this, based on my background, that stuff powers me up, man.
Yeah.
I just want to go punch a hole in a wall
right.
hurt things and people. and so, then it becomes toxic and it's a problem.
But I think that's like having that under control, right?
Right.
Jesus, one of the few things Jesus himself referred to himself as was meek.
Mm-hmm.
Most people think when they hear meek, like weak and gentle, lowly, humble, letting people walk all over you kind of attitude. The word meek there in the Bible, it means controlled power.
Mm-hmm.
No one had more power than Jesus ever. Told Pontius Pilate, you couldn't do the things that you're doing with unless it had been granted to you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God is in control. Jesus was in control of all of it.
Yeah.
And with that, he told, I think it was Peter when he took his sword out, struck off the high priest servant's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not know that I could ask my Father for 10 legions of angels?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had it all, but he was under control. He was there to do the will of the Father, which was save us, bear the penalty of our sin and the wrath of God for that sin, rise from the dead, that we might be brought into his kingdom. There is no better friend than Jesus, and there is no worse enemy than Jesus.
Yeah.
He will come with flaming fire and glory,
right,
to reward those who are his, and those that aren't, to punish forever. Like, so you talk about that, and so this might be a little bit brief, but what manhood isn't.
Yeah.
So manhood is not that toxic idea of the Homer Simpson, right? That is not manhood. That's not the standard.
Yeah.
So we would be right there with a progressive saying, yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like throw the bum out.
Yeah.
But I think that also, Genesis 3 talks about the fall. And yeah, manhood isn't the examples we see throughout the Bible of men when they're constantly messing up. We see it first with Adam. I mean, first off, the serpent comes to Eve, and I've been told that there's in the Hebrew, the way it's kind of worded, Adam was like right there. He should have said something. He didn't. And then Eve gives the fruit to him. He partakes. We all bear the consequences now. But even then, when God comes looking for Adam, where are you? He hid because he was ashamed. And God asked him, did you eat of the tree? Adam had such a great opportunity at that moment to go, yep, I did. And God already knew that Eve did. And instead he goes, no, the woman you gave it to me, blames her. And I remember my dad brought this up once. My dad was a preacher for the listeners, and he was preaching on marriage and such. And could you just imagine how betrayed and let down Eve was in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, she was responsible. She gave the fruit to him, but Adam's role was to protect her.
Yeah.
He didn't protect her from the serpent, and then he blames her for the situation. And so, yeah, I think that what's amazing is that 2,000, well, there's a little more than that, about 4,000, depending on how you count that. And I don't want to get into that with our listeners, but when Jesus comes, Jesus looks at the Father and goes, Father, yes, my bride did those things, but punish me instead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Adam should have done.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
I would say I guess that's my thought on what manhood is.
Mm-hmm.
It's this weird, crazy duality of all the things you just described, which are true and which have defined men throughout history, which is they shirk their responsibility.
Yeah.
They don't do what they're called to do. They don't fulfill all of the traits
Mm-hmm.
and purpose and direction that they're given.
Yeah.
They're rebellious, they're lazy, and they are quick to rely on others, especially their spouses,
Mm-hmm.
wives, to take the burdens that they should bear.
Mm-hmm.
So like that is in a sense manhood, if you think about it, right? It's constantly putting aside what we believe and what we want for what God tells us and what God wants, you know? And that's incredibly difficult.
Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. If this encouraged you guys, we'd appreciate if you would like, subscribe, hit that bell. If you are feeling generous, we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and God bless, guys.